Hey gang, Uncle Todd and Sonny here for episode 6 of The Penguin. And we've jumped ahead in time a bit. Penguin has got the mushrooms growing, and he's got the bliss being put together, and he's sending out and selling, and money's rolling in. And the Falcone, no, the Gigante and the Merino clans have been searching for where his lab is. They can't find it. They've tried tailing Vic, but he keeps losing them before he goes into one of the underground entrances on a motorcycle. Anyways, Sophia and her psychiatrist, Julian, are in some kind of weird S&M kind of relationship. Yeah. Anyway, Sal has been living at the Gigante estate, and as they are discussing stuff over one of Sal's mother's recipes, they realize they're going to have to do two things. One, they're going to have to convince the Triad not to go into business with Oz, and two, start attacking the street gangs he's been using for dealers, which they do. And this has got Oz's people a little worried. So, Oz's big concern, though, is his mom, who has told him during one of her lucid moments that if she gets too far gone, he has to kill her, to let her die with some dignity. And he's not too good with that. Also, the power is still out because, as his electrician says, who's been stealing power so they can power up the lab to grow the mushrooms, that almost all of it's been rerouted up to the upper echelons areas. You know, people that got money. Squid, who you remember was a drop stealer that Vic knew, and had seen him sneaking Oz's mom into a building, comes up to him, knowing he's been doing pretty well. You know, the drop business is almost dead, but this new bliss business that Vic seems to be involved in, he'd like to be involved too. You know, being old buddies and such. Vic goes to tell Oz this, and Oz is more concerned about the lack of power and his mom needing to have heat. But he does ask Vic, "Can you handle this?" And Vic says, "Yeah, I can handle it." Okay. So, Oz goes out, and remember that councilman he had all that blackmail pictures of and stuff? He goes to see him, and using a pair of pliers that he had been trying to fix a generator with, convinces the councilman to turn the power back on at Crown Point. And he gives him a deadline. Meanwhile, Sophia and Sal have gone to Oz's apartment, and they've searched it. And it's pretty frustrating. Oz has no family. As Sophia says, his brothers died young, along with his mother, and his father's in the wind somewhere. But they do find a picture of Eve and some women's clothes in his bedroom. Clothes that don't obviously fit him, of course. So Sophia goes and starts going around showing their picture to some working girls, and they all deny her until she gets to Roxy, who says, you know, for a price, she can tell her where she is. So, you can guess, she meets the price. Vic meets with Squid, who he tells they don't have any openings right now, but he gives him some money. Here's some money. I can keep paying you every week, and then when something opens up, I'll bring you in. That's not good enough for Squid, and throws the money back in his face. He wants to meet the main man, or if he prefers, he'd go talk to that old lady he saw him bringing into the apartment. And Vic tells him up front, look, you do not want to meet the Penguin. He will kill you. He doesn't mess around. Let me handle that. And or he goads Vic and berates him because he's never thought much of Vic. Vic's not a man. He's not a real man. He thinks he's a player. He's not a player. Vic pulls out a gun and shoots him, and then stands there watching while he bleeds out. A little freaked because, he's never done anything like that before. He then goes to the labs, and the Penguin is setting up a major meet. And he sees Vic and says, you take care of it? Vic says, yeah. And he looks at him, realizes, okay, what he's done, and he's never done it before. And he's like, you get away okay? He's like, yeah. I know this is rough the first time, but it will get easier. But right now, you're in no shape to help. So go back to the apartment and keep an eye on Mom and get yourself back together, which Vic does. Then Oswald goes to the meeting where he hands out beers to all the gang leaders, triad leaders, and makes his pitch. Basically, Falcones, the Gigantes, the Morinos, politicians, they don't care about them. There's bugs to them that they can step on to get what they want. And he gives a very impassioned speech about how they actually are the real power. They just have always been separated. But if they came in together, they could take over the city. And about that time, the power comes back on, which does help in Oz's pitch because, he got the power back on. He's got some connections then. So they all crack a beer and drink to their new alliance. Sophia goes to Eve's, where it turns out Eve knew that Sophia would eventually be looking for her and had Roxy set up a meet. And hey, the fact she got paid for it, even better. And she reveals that all of the hangman's victims were friends of Eve. And then Sophia reveals she's not the hangman. Her father was. Her father, her family, and Oz betrayed her and got her sent to the asylum for something she'd never done. And then Oz killed her brother to start a war with the Maronis. And this moves Eve, but she doesn't know where Oz is, and says, if you're going to kill me, go ahead. All I ask is you leave my girls alone. And this moves Sophia. She's never had loyalty like that. And if someone have that kind of loyalty to sacrifice themselves for people that she works with, well, that deserves to be rewarded. So she starts to leave, at which point Eve says, you might try looking in Crown Point. I don't know he's there, but that's where he came from. Well, we then cut to the apartment, where when the power came on, Mrs. Cobb kind of freaked a little, but Vic calmed her down, and then she wanted to hear her music, so put a record on, and then she wants to dance, and Vic's there, and she has Vic dance with her. He's but okay. And as they're dancing, the camera pans back, and watching them is Sophia. Startled because, like everyone else, she didn't realize Oz's mom was still alive. What to do? You only got a couple more episodes to go, and things are really heading towards a point where everybody's going to be in a showdown. And I think by the end of it, Oz will be the one in charge of, if not the city, at least major portions of it. He will become what he's wanted to be. And not just a leader, but a man to be respected by the people, like the people of Crown Point. That's very important to him. And I'm wondering about Sophia. Just how far will she go for her revenge? She's still the most fascinating character on the show, to me, anyways. And, oh, Vic. Will he become just like Oz? It's looking like it. He's made his choice and he's going down that path. And that's kind of sad. And yet understandable. Him shooting Vic, or Squid, was a bit of a shock. Wasn't sure he would do it. I get the feeling he didn't think he would either until push came to shove. But all in all, really liking the show. Can't wait to see what happens. Is Vic and Mrs. Cobb going to be abducted? Are they going to be killed? Is Sophia going to leave him alone? I don't know. It's something to think about. That's all for this episode. Please hit like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.